Okay, so hello everybody. Many of us are having a interaction regarding the essay writing, and I have done sessions. I have done some sessions with some students. I think so. The thing which I am regularly finding is there's a lot of time goes into explaining the basic parts of the essays, and this somehow affects the timing and efficiency that we need to invest. In having a proper interaction, proper framing of essay. And so I thought that I would make a one generalized thing that what are we expected from an essay writing, and then on the individual basis I will have start having interaction with all of you. Okay, so that would be the approach that would kind of save our time and my time and your time. So I think that would work. And there are because the sessions are on individual basis, so that is understandable, but there is certain foundation and certain basic clearance that is needed for all of us, so that I would ensure through this session. So okay, so first thing is that we are the proper and the general part is that we have two essays and around 11 pages that we are expected to write into 3 11 11 22 around 11 and 10 and a half we can say. And so that is a general part. The one part is that we are having a usually we face two kind of essays: the philosophical essays, or we may be having proper subject wise or technical framework like agriculture focused or women empowerment, science and technology, or some democratic institution, democracy, all these things. So these are properly structured and departmentalized and focused essays. That's what we have philosophical essays as well. So which essays are better to write, which essays are not, that we will discuss and analyze on an individual basis. But the thing that is really important and useful for us that we need to have in practice of both essays, because sometimes philosophical essays are easier, or sometimes we do not even get an option to choose between, because all the essays may be in one section, all the essays will be philosophical essays. So usually it happens section B is a philosophical essays, and sometimes section A and section B both would be a philosophical essay. So be prepared for that. So that is the general part. Okay, so here then the question comes, and how should we write the essay? What should be structuring part of essay? So one important part is that we all know that there's an introduction, there's a body, and there's a conclusion. Okay, and with like I want to focus that I'm thinking about the issue. I would make a one video in introduction, then around two videos or one video on body, and then and then we'll discuss over the conclusion part. But I'm keeping it general. There will be a variation on individual to individual basis that I will analyze, and we will have an interaction, and then we will decide okay, what kind of changes at the individual level, because the pattern of writing, way of presentation, way of analysis is different for every people. So one size fits for all approach I don't think work, and somehow it affects the marks of the student, because usually we start following the generalized pattern and we just do away and ignore our own strengths that we do, and sometimes weaknesses as well. So on both aspects we need to be cognizant about. Okay, so the thing is, first let's talk about the introduction part. So for introduction, the basic focus of the introduction is that that should basically attract the attention, to gain the attention of examiner. And secondly, that is a majorly primary thing. Second important thing is that usually we start the some story or anecdote, or so. But what happens now, that story anecdote should be comprehensive thing, that should be the ultimately that story's idea should be your essay's topic. Okay, like suppose there's a any topic they can choose, any topic. Character without knowledge without character is useless in a seven sense. So that is the one theme. So the story should be comprehensive enough that has a angle of knowledge, that should have angle of character, and then how it is useless. The knowledge is useless without a character. So that kind of thing, that should be the whole story should be arranged and organized in such a manner that it ultimately lead us to the conclusion that this is the theme we reach to the conclusion. Because what do we do next? So whatever we know various stories, real time stories. I will tell how we can collect more stories, but any real world story like we are having the Malala Yousafzai stories, or Nadia Murad stories, or anything. So these stories we know, but the arrangement of story, the way of presentation, the choice of words and lines, that would be defined based on the what kind of essays topic we are having. On the basis of that, we will arrange our idea so that we reach to the conclusion, we reach to the theme of the essay. That is the purpose of introduction, that we have chosen some story, and a story would be presented and arranged in such a manner that we at the end of the introduces we are able to introduce our essay's topic. So that is the requirement of essay. So that is the requirement of introduction. So the question, the genuine question that comes to our mind, that what would be the sources of collection of stories. So the first thing is that we already a certain collection that you can write down or just listen to it. That first thing, that various Nobel Peace Prize winners, they have a struggle and challenging part of their life. So these can somehow add to our stories collection. Second aspect is like Padma Award is like we are having a Padma Award is like we are choosing a Padma awardees who have kind of social struggles, and how they contributed to the society. So their stories we can choose and write. Okay. And additionally, I think that there are some very good documentaries as well that somehow become a part of our collection. Like the Chernobyl story is a very good story. Bhopal gas tragedy is a really good incident to mention, and how the situation was handled, how these things create impact on society in general, thinking of society. Similarly, even the Israel Hamas war, that is more generalized thing, but still we can utilize it. So be open to the ideas, and don't just cage yourself to certain domain of stories. Apart from that, we can, I think, the mythology, the Indian mythologies like Ramayana, Mahabharatas, these also can be used as a story, and they have various moral angles to it, so that somehow be useful for us in a certain ways. Okay, so that can also be done. Apart from this, I think these are all the non-fictional aspects. There are certain fictional stories that, oh, we can make up the stories like things, but these just ensure that you are giving a UPSC examination, so the story should be presentable, should be arranged in such a manner and refined language that it should not seem like just some trivial kind of a fictional story. You should have some proper lesson, and like if you are having a mother-son relationship, then how this relationship things is going on, and what kind of interaction they do, and what should we do, because that kind of reflects your own idea. So be cautious whenever you are doing it and presenting it. But we can always do, because it will not be always a case that we all have and all the real stories and that can fit in our essay. So try if your real story is not fitting there, then please choose the fictional story. That will make more sense and do more justice to the essay topic as compared to some putting unnecessarily forcing some story. Okay. But always keep in mind that essays, a story should be presented in such a manner that we reach to the essay's topic, and it should be comprehensive enough that it covers all aspects that we are trying to present in an essay. So that is kind of covers up our introduction aspect. So the one argument that comes that why don't we start with some quotes? So that is the one approach that people do. If you are comfortable with it and good at it, then go with it. But I think that quote is usually somehow puts up in a situation, because quotes is usually 3 4 or 2 3 lines. Okay, because we are expected to write, and we expect the aspirants to write around 1 page or 1.5 page should be invested in an introduction part. Okay, introduction, and we are just reaching to the end, going toward the body part. So that is 1.5 pages. So keeping that in mind, I think the story works quite well as compared to choosing an quotes. Okay, but the story could be any, it could be fictional, it could be non-fictional, whatever you choose. Okay, so that is the I think the body part of it. Okay, in the next video I will try to cover up with with the body. I will that is the I will try to discuss the body part. The one thing that you should be kept in mind, that when we are done with the introduction and moving to our body, there's a transitional paragraph that we are trying to put, like what are we going to do, what aspects, what perspectives we are going to discuss in our upcoming bodies part. Okay, so that aspects is usually come the what, why, when. That any question is that why does this happen, how does this happen, what will happen if this does not happen, how can we ensure that these things can happen, what will happen when these things start happening. Because of these all the aspects of it. And one more argument, there's a the usual argument, there's a thesis, there's counter thesis. So that is basically the argument in the support of the essay. There will be argument in the opposition of essay. So these aspects also need to be kept in mind while we are transitioning toward the body part, and these aspects need to be cleared when we are moving from the introduction to the body part. And I will try to cover it up and discuss it. But just keep one thing in mind, I'm just putting this to have an putting a foundation to this discussion, so that I don't want to repeat these things, so we can have a fruitful discussion with the students. And I don't want to waste your session and money on the things that on the things which are trivial or foundational. Okay, so from there onwards I would start discussing the way on the essay part. And one more thing that we would be working on the GS part and geography optional part as well, that I will try to discuss and make videos as well if I get a time. Okay, and if you want me to discuss any particular thing or present particular thing, then I will try to record it and discuss it. Okay, I think it will work out. I'm thinking about it. I'm not just sure too much that how it will pan out and what would be the response of yours. But let's see. Just inform me on my WhatsApp that what do you think about this process. I think it will work. But let's have an opinion and be open to the suggestions. Okay, bye. Good luck.